what do you make out? I mean, there's this sentiment which has existed, ma'am, that the Rafale aircrafts are supposed to be the deadliest, the most lethal. How true is this assessment?
Perfectly, 100% true. I will say it like that, and I will start this with my motto of Indian Air Force: Nabha Sprisham Deepta. So with Rafales, we are going one step more towards this. I will say that how people are calling it.
So we're going one step more to it. Explain to me. Explain to me, Vidula ji. Yeah, Vidula ji, how is it a game changer? There's a full press release which was issued by the Defense Ministry today, and I was going through it in great detail. One of the things which I found quite interesting is that you can actually lock in your target attack via your helmet itself. I mean, you don't really need to even look at the windscreen or look at the control panel of the aircraft. How does that work out?
Exactly. There are some very, very high-tech display sensors attached to the helmet of the pilot, which will enable him to take quick decisions in case there is a two-pronged attack. Let's try and imagine a situation where the pilot has got to look at an attack from left and right. Let's call it like that. And once that kind of a situation comes, he has to take very quick decisions. So when he is trying to do that, the sensor data which is put in the helmet through that helmet display system, it helps him to take some tactical decisions, So this reduces the chances of human error that could happen. So once we start training, our pilots start training on it, this human errors, minutest chance will also get deflected. So that's a very big advantage when we come in a two-pronged situation of an air attack.
And is it true? I'm looking at some of the specifications. Is it true that it can climb? It can get up to a height of 60 of almost 50,000 feet at a rate of 60,000 feet per minute. I mean, that's basically saying that the aircraft can get up to 60,000 feet. It can go over 50,000 feet in a minute. I mean, that's a supersonic speed almost.
Yes, you can see something more than supersonic. That's why it's known as that gust of wind, which comes, bursts into fire and just vanishes. Alright, for a layman, I will say that the name that Rafale represents is a gust of wind, burst of fire. Alright, so it just comes and it goes, vanishes with a big fire drop. So before we even come to know, so whenever we are talking about an air power, we say stealth or surprise or flexibility. These are some very, very crucial, critical issues whenever air power is used in an attack or in a war-like situation. So if we use air power, flexibility is very important. So what sensor methods, the sensor things we talked about, and this stealth and this speed that we talked about, these are all very crucial.
It also, I'm also told by experts that this aircraft has the ability to engage enemy fighters from distance without being tracked. Now, to my mind, I'm thinking of what had happened when the Indian Air Force was launching an attack, last year just before the Lok Sabha elections in Pakistan, from where there was a terror strike. And I remember Squad Leader Abhinandan, who ended up losing his aircraft because the aircraft was shot down, it crashed. Now, explain to me if Abhinandan at that time had a Rafale, how would that operation have been different from the manner in which that operation ultimately played itself out?
You asked a very pertinent question. I will say that this situation would not have even arisen if Rafale was the machine behind which Abhinandan was sitting. If that would have happened, the kind of missiles, the kind of weapons that we have ordered for this particular India-specific Rafale, he would never have even crossed the LOC. He would have been somewhere in Ambala or Jammu or somewhere nearer also, and he would have been sitting there and he would have launched and he would have had a success rate of 100%. Okay, so that kind of we would have saved ourselves from that kind of embarrassment to the pilot as well as to the country.
And what about also explain to us, what about this notion that this aircraft is fitted with this air-to-air beyond visual range interception combatant self-defense missile? I mean, you can't see the airplane. In simple layman's terms, do I get this? Do I hear this? That once the aircraft is airborne, it has the ability of actually beating enemy radars?
Yes. The kind of frontage that I will say that the kind of frontage that it has and the kind of avionics, the kind of display systems that it has, the kind of radar enhancements that have been done in it, these enable that it is not tracked visually by the radars of say a base in maybe Pakistan or maybe in China. In this particular region, the Indian subcontinent where we are talking about this aircraft, there are no such radars which can track it at present at least. So China claims, but we always know what are Chinese whispers made of. Okay. So we should not believe in them, and we should say that this aircraft cannot be tracked easily.
So you really believe, Vidulaji, that this is a real game changer. My final question to you, and I'm trying to break it down for all our viewers in the context of what are some of the critical aspects of this aircraft which should be known. The other part is that it has the ability of detecting 40 targets at the same time within a radius of 100 kilometers. How does that play out? How does that actually play out in a combat situation?
Okay, now I'll try to explain it to you explain to the viewers with reference to a term which is used by the makers of this particular machine. Dassault calls it not just a multi-role aircraft but an omni-role aircraft. So we need to understand this term very carefully and we'll understand how it is going to be a game changer. Omni-role means, see, one time, like say, if you are sitting at home, you are like today's children, the teenagers, what do? They are playing games, simultaneously they are studying also, and simultaneously they are attending live classes also. So just like that, this aircraft has a cutting edge that simultaneously it can deploy itself, it can get into a configuration where you can do air defense, you can do ground defense, at the same time you can do recce and you can do some more things also. So all of this can go on simultaneously. That means targets can also be recognized, acquired and intercepted simultaneously. Alright, but what we need now is no speculations into its ability, but faith in our leadership and the training of our pilots for this machine, so that whatever we have got, that technology is acquired by the man behind the machine. That is what is most important, and this is where our Indians' role also comes. We should stop all the speculations about its capabilities and believe in the leadership.
I just hope, Squadron Vidula, that the man behind the machine can also be a woman behind the machine. I believe, and I'm certain that at some stage, women will also be. I'm hoping, are women allowed to fly this aircraft? Are they allowed to beam these fighter planes or not, Vidulaji?
Oh, we have the we have the women coming in as fighter pilots. So the day is not far when you will see the woman behind the machine.
Yeah, all right. On that note, men and women, Indian citizens behind the machine, Indian Air Force warriors behind the machine is the way I'd like to sum it up. Thanks very much, Squadron Vidula, for taking us through exactly why this aircraft and this purchase has been such a big game changer for the Indian Air Force. From a water salute to almost a celebratory threat against the Chinese and the Pakistanis, it's almost as if the entire strategic equation, the strategic paradigm in India has changed with the arrival of these Rafale aircrafts. My mind takes me back to 2019. My mind takes